Part 85. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 841. No one would have thought that Lao Jin would step down as the demon emperor so simply. No one would have thought that the change would come so suddenly. Boom. I saw that a golden light suddenly appeared on the snake head pillar, which was no different from an ordinary stone sculpture, and fell straight into the center of Lao Jin's eyebrows. In the blink of an eye, no one can react. Suddenly, Lao Jin's body stagnated, and he suddenly fell backwards and fell straight to the ground. Lao Jin. A group of delicate cultivators suddenly rushed over to find out what happened, but before they arrived, golden light also appeared on Lao Jin's body. At the same time, a look of pain appeared on Lao Jin's face, as if an invisible big hand was forcefully pulling the golden light away from Lao Jin's body. This is. The human monks were stunned. Even though they were well informed, they had never heard of such a scene. At this time, the sky thunder shook again. For some reason, the evil thoughts accelerated the speed of devouring the sky thunder, and the eighth sky thunder unexpectedly ushered in. Everyone speculates that there are 9 thunders in the sky. If evil thoughts completely swallow up the 9 thunders, will the heavens be silent and will they face a catastrophe? Quick, quick, let him find Zuyun. At this time, Brother Dayang suddenly roared hysterically. Because he thought that before Lao Jin became the Demon King, he was Zuyun's pet. And he knew very well that Lao Jin must have violated the will of the totem pole that caused this situation. This was the totem pole's punishment for him. Perhaps, only Zuyun can save Lao Jin's life. Because a pet recognizes its owner and is protected by its owner, this is also limited by the laws of heaven. And Zuyun is in the demon refining tower. Yes, look for Zuyun. Just in time, you demon kings, go there together. The rabbit demon emperor flashed his beautiful eyes and said softly. As soon as he finished speaking, all the golden light from Lao Jin's body was pulled away. At the same time, he also revealed his original body and turned into a huge golden dragon. Quick, quick. Several demon kings had just arrived and carried Lao Jin without hesitation. Brother Yang also followed. Even though he had no demon power, at this time, he had no choice. Humph. Lao Zu snorted and said, I can smell it. The demon refining tower is under the crack in the ground. Let's go there quickly. He was the first to bear the brunt of the attack and jumped into the pit. Lead the way, don't go astray. The Tiger Demon King roared. Don't worry, Old Zu, am not a vegetarian. If he hadn't been carrying Lao Jin, Lao Zu would have wanted to slap his chest twice. Soon, the 10 demon kings disappeared from everyone's sight. At this time, they had time to pay attention to the snake head pillar, and found that the snake head pillar had returned to the appearance of a bluestone sculpture. No vitality, no demonic power. All demon kings are actually very clear in their hearts. That is fate's punishment for Lao Jin. Lao Jin may be in bad luck. But no matter what, the most important thing right now is how to stop the evil thoughts of resisting the thunder disaster. It's better to retreat first. The next thunder tribulation may become stronger and stronger. Hu Chong was frightened and motioned for everyone to retreat again. As he retreated, he asked, which lightning disaster is this? Everyone shook their heads, they didn't come at the first time. Until far away, a black shadow suddenly flew over. Nangongyan frowned and said with surprise and joy, Xiu'er, it's Xiu'er here. When he came here, everything was led and decided by Hu Chong. He didn't express any opinions. After discovering Xiu'er, he naturally greeted her. Dad, why are you here? On top of the magic seal, Xiu'er was breathing heavily. After she separated from Zuyun, she hesitated for a long time before planning to spread the news to the human race. But not long after arriving at Peeper Realm, I heard the sound of thunder. I was worried that something might happen to Zuyun, so I planned to come over and have a look. It's just that her speed is not fast. It was the 8th lightning strike before she arrived. As long as you're okay, it'll be okay. Nangongyan did not answer, but excitedly led Xiu'er into the crowd. Xiu'er. Xiu'er. It's great that you're okay. The elders of Yaluo demon sect greeted each other one after another. Well, I'm fine. I didn't expect everyone to come. I originally wanted to go to Yasha realm to find you. Hearing this, Hu Chang's eyes flashed and he said, Xiu'er, what you mean is, that you have been in Dongsheng realm. Absolutely, Xiu'er breathed calmly and said, Valley Master Hu, when I informed you from Yaluo City, I was sucked into the demon refining tower. I didn't come out until I reached Dongsheng realm, and I even met Zuyun. Wishyun. Although they had always guessed that Zuyun was in the demon refining tower, when they heard that Xiu'er had seen it with his own eyes, they couldn't help but look shocked. Hu Chang even asked excitedly, where is Zuyun? The voice was not shy, and once again spread to the periphery, reaching everyone's ears. When I came out, I met Zuyun. Then Zuyun broke into the tower. It's been a long time, almost a month. Xiu'er said anxiously, I had already left, but when I heard the strange movement in the sky here, 8 thunderbolts flashed down one after another, I was worried that something would happen to him. Wait, what did you say? 8 heavenly thunders. Everyone was shocked. 8 paths, is this the 8th heavenly tribulation? If this one is swallowed up again, then only the last one will be left. Yes, Badeo. Xiu'er didn't know why, let alone the catastrophe. Even when he came here, he didn't notice that there was evil thought in the thunder. He had never seen the evil thought that took over Matai's body, so he naturally couldn't recognize it. He thought that Zuyun was fighting with the evil thought in the demon refining tower, which caused the world to move. After returning, he saw so many people down there, and he thought that Zuyun must have won. Trouble, time is running out. The faces of everyone turned ugly. At the speed at which the evil thought devoured the heavenly tribulation, the 8th thunder would end in an hour at most. Even if the 9th thunder was stronger, there would be no difference in essence, except that the thunder power was stronger. This evil thought could not hurt the root. It's over, it's over. Everyone's face was very ugly. What should we do? Otherwise, while the 8th thunder has ended and the last thunder has not arrived, we rush up to surround and kill him. No, the thunder comes too fast. And, the evil thoughts are so strong, we can only be well prepared. Indeed, we can't be careless. They racked their brains to think of countermeasures. But no matter what, they couldn't find a perfect solution. Is the catastrophe of the mortal world a foregone conclusion? No one is willing. Especially these powerful people. Yu Tangzi smiled bitterly and looked at the periphery of the crowd, with a little envy in his heart. Those low-level cultivators don't know what this means at all. Sometimes, ignorance is also a kind of happiness. If we can't do it, then you can enjoy this last time. After half an hour of discussion, everyone finally made a crazy decision. That is, everyone, all enter the demon refining tower. Instead of letting Zuyun face the evil thoughts alone, it is better to gather everyone's strength. This decision is not to preserve the creatures of the mortal world, but to choose the creatures of the mortal world. Only by listening to them and entering the tower, these people will be more likely to follow their arrangements. As for those who don't enter, they can only leave it to fate. After the decision, a group of powerful soldiers divided into several directions and conveyed the decision to all living beings. Some agreed, some refused. The powerful did not explain much, only a few words. Enter the demon refining tower and fight the evil thoughts for the final battle. Or leave this place, life and death are at will. 90% of the living beings chose to enter the tower. So, when the 9th thunder came, everyone swarmed in, all of them controlled their own magical powers and flew towards the crack in the ground. And this scene also fell into the eyes of the evil thoughts that were devouring the last thunder. He, I didn't want to devour them at first, who knew that they would fall into the trap? Then don't blame me for being rude. In a corner of the human cultivators, all the people of the Spirit Sword sect gathered together. Are we going to? Nonsense, if we don't go, are we going back to the Spirit Sword sect? That's right, these great men didn't say everything, but since Zuyun is in the demon refining tower, why don't we go? Although Zuyun and I are worlds apart, we are still brothers. They live and die together. Me too. Warm ti. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 842. The ninth thunder disappeared. Only 10% of the living beings are left in this world. Among this group, half chose to stay and watch the fun, while the other half, either human or demon, chose to leave. So many people have entered, but you don't. This is not showing respect to the saint, GGG. The robbery thunder is gone, but there is still a huge thunder ball in the sky, sizzling and constantly glowing with purple thunder light. This is the source of all evil after devouring 9 heavenly thunders, turning almost all the strength in the body into the power of heavenly thunders. Since you don't want to give me face, then just die. Evil thought waved his hand casually, and tens of thousands of thunder suddenly fell from the sky. These thunders are very thin. But every one of them carries an extremely destructive aura. Boom. 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 Even if there are only 10% of the creatures in the mortal world, there are tens of thousands of them, but they will be destroyed by the actions of evil thoughts. At this time, in the demon refining tower, everyone looked at the place they were in with a blank look on their faces. Desolate. However, after all, there was a powerful person taking the lead, and they quickly gathered together, and under their leadership, headed towards the stone mountain. Xiu volunteered and introduced the demon refining tower to the powerful experts. And her words will be passed down layer by layer and reach everyone's ears. In the space of this ancient treasure, most people are very interested. Except for the people from Lingjian sect. When evil thoughts were still swallowing up Tianli, Big Dog introduced them to the demon refining tower. However, it's only on the first floor. Wia, what are you looking at? Lian Nishang and Meng Wei are now inseparable. They are the most special existences in the Lingjian sect. They were all the proud daughters of heaven in their respective sects, and they had all reached the nascent soul stage. Even at this time, they were practicing fire-based techniques. Not to mention, Meng Wei's life-saving spiritual fire symbiosis technique is still an undisclosed secret of the Fire Dragon sect. And Lian Nishang also knew that the Fire Dragon staff in Meng Wei's hand was a spiritual weapon that had been refined for many years by the Supreme Elder of their Fire Dragon sect. However, all this has nothing to do with Lian Nishang joining the Lingjian sect. Lian Nishang only hates the Fire Dragon sect. You ask me what I'm looking at, so what are you looking at? Meng Wei covered his mouth, smiled sweetly, and whispered. I. Lian Nishang subconsciously glanced at the old man floating in the air in the distance, leading the way, and his eyes suddenly became lonely. Mr. Dan was her mentor, but if it weren't for his repeated calculations, how could she have endured such humiliation? After all, the Fire Dragon sect is where you grew up. If you have the chance, you should go over and say hello. Meng Wei didn't know what Lian Nishang had gone through, and thought she was so comforted because she felt ashamed of the Fire Dragon sect after joining the Lingjian sect. She continued, "Look, my master is right there." Lian Nishang followed Meng Wei's fingers and saw that it was the graceful Luo Yanran. However, Luo Yanran followed Yu Tangzi, which made Lian Nishang mistakenly think that her master was Yu Tangzi. "Then why don't you go and take a look?" Lian Nishang asked. "It won't be too late to see Zuyun." If we go by now, I'm afraid I'll miss the important event of Master and others. Wia, do you think something will happen to Zuyun? Lian Nishang didn't want to dwell on the topic of Master for too long, so she talked about Zuyun. That boy Zuyun. Speaking of Zuyun, Meng Wei smiled for no reason and said, he has always been blessed with good fortune. Sometimes I wonder if he is the son of destiny. Destined child. Yes, Meng Wei fell into memories again. In fact, she had said these words to Lian Nishang, but she was in the demon refining tower at this time, and it was very likely that they would all die together. On the contrary, it was more like it is the last memory before death. At this time, Big Dog and Ergo joined in, adding some additions to the side, which fascinated those who had never heard of it before. They were sometimes excited and sometimes nervous because of the dangers Zuyun had experienced. After these people finished talking, a chatty and idle person a little further away started bragging about Zuyun's story to more people. Originally, Zuyun's name had already been deeply rooted in people's hearts. Now in the boring rush, if some people were willing to speak, naturally some people were willing to listen. Unconsciously, everyone's understanding of Zuyun deepened. Ergu, are you good at using this knife? After talking about Zuyun, Meng Wei suddenly looked at Ergu, pointed at the dark red knife on his waist and said. It's okay. Ergu took out the knife, turned the handle over, handed it to Meng Wei, and said, but I think that as a man, I should use a larger and longer magic weapon, or else I should return it. Give it to you. It's useless to give it back to me, Meng Wei refused, taking out the fire dragon staff from his ring, and said with a smile, now that I have this, it's bigger and longer, so I won't trade it with you. Young Palace Master, I always feel that this knife still has a lot of hidden power. I'm afraid that I won't be able to practice or control it in the future. Ergu practices Yoluo demonic skill, and in the history of Yoluo demonic sect, no man has ever practiced it. In other words, Ergu followed another path. When this matter is settled here, I will take you to the master and let them take a look. When he was outside the demon refining tower, Meng Wei saw his master surrounded by a group of nascent soul stages that revealed surging magic power. This shows that Yoluo demon sect is very powerful and is very likely to help Ergu solve the problem. Since breaking through the foundation building stage, Ergu's cultivation has progressed by leaps and bounds, and with this knife, he has embarked on a completely new path. But his foundation is still the magic power of Yoluo. This point is beyond Meng Wei's understanding. Well, I've been feeling uneasy lately, and I dream about this knife. Ergu lowered his head and stuffed the dagger back into his arms, but a strong arm was placed on his shoulder. It's a big dog. Why panic? Zuyun said that there are 3,000 avenues, and everything in the world can be enlightened. Maybe you can find a brand new path. Ergu forced a laugh and then said nothing more. Even if he continues to practice, if he wants to go to the spirit world, he may have to go through the 9 Netherland alone. This is what he is worried about. Just as the monks were walking towards the second floor step by step, outside the demon refining tower, evil thoughts had already killed all the creatures outside the tower. Those who didn't leave were turned into powder by his blow. He actually caught up with those who ran away one by one, not sparing any of them. For a time, most of the creatures in the huge Dongsheng realm were in the demon refining tower. What is the idiom in the world? Evil thoughts frowned slightly, then smiled and said, catch a turtle in a urn. After that, he quickly returned, stood still for a moment outside the crack in the ground, and jumped down. What an idiot. Now that I have reached the realm of Demon Saint, I will completely refine this demon refining tower first. As for the tower spirit, kill all these creatures in the tower, and then sacrifice them into the black ball, then it will happen naturally. Come on. I believe that when I smash this demon refining tower on the old man's head, I will definitely give him a big surprise. A look of triumph flashed in Evil Thought's eyes, and he finally landed at the bottom of the crack in the ground and stood in front of the demon refining tower. The copper door is wide open, and I don't know who was the last one to come in. I don't remember to close it. Or maybe there is no spirit in the demon refining tower, so it won't close the door on its own. All this is no longer important to evil thoughts. It's time to start. He whispered and put his hand on the demon refining tower. Boom! A flash of purple light emerged from the palm of his hand, and then slowly filled the demon refining tower. Half an hour later, the completely black demon refining tower turned into a thunder tower. Countless thunder snakes swarmed around and emerged from the cracks in the tower. And in the black pool on the 9th floor of the tower, earth-shaking changes have also taken place. The black pool turned into a thunder pool, and the black ball turned into a thunder bead. What a powerful thunder spirit! Niao immediately noticed the drastic changes in the tower, and his eyes watching Zuyun immediately looked over, with a surprised look on his face. Where did this thunder power come from? It actually passed through the tower. Is this to be refined into the demon refining tower? Niao felt vaguely that things were developing beyond his imagination. He didn't know what was going on outside the tower, let alone where his inner demons had gone. But no matter what, Niao knows that whether it is the black pool or the black ball, these two are the core of the demon refining tower. Even if the evil thoughts want to be completely refined through his own huge power, it will probably take a long time. Zuyun, wake up quickly. Niao whispered softly, and I don't know if Zuyun really heard it. His eyelids trembled, and he actually showed signs of waking up. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 843. Boom. The moment Zuyun opened his eyes, the air in the 9th floor suddenly shook. Originally, the black pool and the black ball that were condensing the power of thunder also made a dull sound at this moment. Before Niao could say a surprise, when Zuyun you woke up, you saw all the thunder spirit power on the entire altar, rushing towards Zuyun crazily. Not good. Niao was shocked. Such a powerful thunder spirit blasted towards Zuyun, and he was probably going to be wiped out. Zuyun had just woken up at this time and seemed to have not fully recovered. How could he react to avoid it? Regardless of his own safety, he actually moved forward alone and pushed Zuyun away. Boom! Two extremely strong thunder spiritual powers directly engulfed Niao's whole body. A bird. Zuyun, who was pushed to the ground, finally saw what he had found. He screamed and quickly looked towards Niao. But all they saw was that the flesh and skin of a bird's innocent body faded away little by little under the bombardment of the thunder spirit power. Wait a minute, there are still demon spirits. Zuyun was shocked. If there was a demon soul that could save Niao, he might be able to keep him alive. But after he reached the pill-forming stage, he advanced too quickly and didn't learn any soul skills at all. What should he do? But the situation is urgent, and Zuyun doesn't care what his plans are in the future. At this moment, he can only protect Niao's demon soul first. He rushed towards the huge thunder spirit power. The 5 elements are mutually reinforcing and restraining each other, but the thunder spirit power is formed by the fusion of gold and fire. He doesn't know how to restrain the thunder spirit force. He simply runs the chaos lotus like crazy and converts all the chaos power in his body into thunder spirit power. Zi La. Zuyun plunged into the thunder spirit power, only to find that these thunder spirit powers were actually. It was absorbed by him. At this time, Zuyun discovered that after experiencing life and death again, his chaos lotus had fully bloomed. At this time, he is at the peak of the late nascent soul stage. The reason why these thunder spiritual powers are coming at him is because he has broken through, and the Chaos Lotus is frantically absorbing the spiritual power in the air. Naturally, this includes the thunder power coming from outside the tower. Who would have thought that Aniao had misunderstood and was almost ready to die in order to save him? When you break through, absorb as much spiritual power as possible, which will directly affect your future cultivation. But now, Aniao only has a skeleton left, with a pale golden demon soul hiding in his skull and shivering. When this skeleton is also destroyed by the power of thunder, his demon soul is really dead. Between Xiantu and Aniao's demon soul, Zuyun chose the latter without hesitation. Turning a blind eye goes against my Taoist conscience. If you don't have the heart of Taoism, how can you talk about cultivating immortality? Zuyun suddenly hugged Aniao's skull in his arms, curled up, and tried his best to protect the skull with his flesh and blood body. As for the thunder spirit power, let the body absorb it on its own. Anyway, there is Chaos Lotus. Without Zuyun's active absorption, this breakthrough only lasted half an hour. Inside the altar, blackness returned again. But because there were evil thoughts that were continuously delivering thunder power, a faint purple color soon appeared again. Zuyun had no time to pay attention, but whispered to the skull in his arms, "Demon Saint. Zuyun, if I had known that it was your breakthrough that caused the thunder spirit power, I wouldn't be like this." A's bitter laughter came from within his skull. "Demon Saint, this is your kindness. I don't know if it was caused by my own breakthrough. But at least, you survived." Zuyun said happily, "Wait until I learn some soul skills, then I can help you reshape your body. It won't work anymore. I've already taken away my body once. It's useless to rebuild my body." Aniao knew that he was destined to die. But Zuyun obviously couldn't accept this fact. Because it wasn't his breakthrough, and Aniao wasn't trying to protect him, how could Aniao be like this? "However, I came to the demon refining tower with the intention of dying. It just so happens that my demon soul has nowhere to go. Why don't you take me to find the evil thoughts? I will find a way to forcibly merge with it, and you can take the opportunity to kill him. Now I only have the power of the demon soul, that's all I can do." "No, no, how can I let you die?" Zuyun immediately refused. "Zuyun, if I don't die, everyone in the world will die. You don't know where these thunder powers come from, but I do." Previously, Aniao only felt Lei Wei and did not know the source of these powers. But when he was in the power of thunder, he felt a sense of familiarity. This is the thunder power of evil thoughts. So obvious. It's evil thoughts that are refining the demon refining tower. And most importantly, where did he come from with such powerful thunder power? It's so incredible. Aniao can distinguish the severity and knows that there is no need to guess where the thunder power comes from at this time. The stronger the evil thoughts, the smaller the possibility that Zuyun can kill him. Only as soon as possible. "Demon Saint, is there really no other way?" Zuyun was moved in his heart and struggled extremely. "There is no other way. My demon soul has nowhere to go. I will either die in the body of evil thoughts or dissipate in the world. If I didn't have a demon soul with the strength of a demon saint, I might not be able to communicate with you at this time." Zuyun's expression dimmed and he said, "Then, what if you become a weapon spirit?" He thought of the Skyfire Dragon. The Skyfire Dragon was forcibly refined into a weapon spirit by him. Item spirit. But everyone knows that no living being is willing to become a weapon spirit, and something unexpected happens to the Skyfire Dragon. Not to mention, a bird, who was formerly the demon saint. Unexpectedly, the word Qi Ling opened up Aniao's thoughts. "Item spirit, item spirit." He shouted in surprise, "Zuyun, I have thought of a way. Let me become the weapon spirit of the demon refining tower." "What?" Zuyun was overjoyed at first, and then said ecstatically, "Demon Saint, you and the evil thoughts are of the same body. Since he can become a weapon spirit, then naturally you can also become a weapon spirit. But, as he spoke, he looked towards the altar again. In this moment, the black pool and black ball turned purple again. Moreover, they are all glowing with lightning. No need to but, Niao said in a deep voice, Zuyun, look for evil thoughts and integrate them into his body. Even if I can kill him, I will still die, and the chance of winning is very low. It's better to, let me become a weapon spirit. This way, not only can I stop him from refining the demon refining tower, but I can also use this tower to fight against him. Seeing that Zuyun was still hesitant, Niao said anxiously, Zuyun, we have no choice. If I hadn't seen that you could absorb this thunder spirit power, I wouldn't have dared to do such a test. If I waited any longer, it would be too late. Demon Saint, what should I do? Zuyun knew that he really had no choice. The longer they wait, the less likely they will be. Let me think about it. Seeing that Zuyun finally agreed, Niao pondered for a moment and said, the tower spirit is going to enter the black ball, but this thunder spirit power will hurt me a lot, so the first step is to find a way, separate this black ball from the thunder spirit power. As long as I can enter it, I can find a way to control the demon refining tower. Okay, then I'll give it a try. After all, Niao has been in the demon refining tower for countless years and knows the demon refining tower better than he does. He has no choice but to believe. Chaos Lotus. Zuyun shouted in his heart, and the blooming Chaos Lotus immediately started spinning in his body. After a while, the rotation speed was so fast that the naked eye could not detect what it was. Moreover, the Chaos Lotus is also frantically releasing its thunder power, and the entire lotus is tightly wrapped in purple light. The thunder spirit power gradually overflowed from Zuyun's body, and soon, a vortex of thunder spirit power was formed with Zuyun as the center, which then produced a powerful suction force. Zuyun did not wait where he was, but used his body as a whirlpool to slowly walk towards the altar. Zi. Zizi. Zitsize. As Zuyun got closer and closer, the whirlpool finally aroused the thunder power in the altar. In the black pool and the black ball, two huge thunder spirits merged into one and shot towards Zuyun. The bird in his arms and in his skull also raised his heart to his throat. Zi La. Finally, thunder spirit power poured into Zuyun's body again. At the same time, outside the demon refining tower, evil thought also frowned. Strange, why is my thunder spirit power missing again? Could it be caused by kind thoughts? No, I have to go and have a look. I can't let him ruin my good deeds. Thinking of this, the evil thoughts put aside all distracting thoughts and went straight into the bronze door. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 844. With evil thoughts, he plunged into the demon refining tower and immediately discovered something strange in the tower. As far as the current situation is concerned, the demon refining tower is still a magic weapon for evil thoughts. However, because he did not have the relationship with the tower spirit, he could not discover the situation in the tower outside the tower. Who dares to take advantage of my tower? His eyebrows shrunk, and his whole body revealed a monstrous aura, which actually turned into a bolt of lightning and ran towards the stone mountain. At this time, the monk who was walking in the front had already passed through the light gate and reached the 9th floor. Finally, they saw Zuyun and a scene they had never dared to imagine. Until, the crowd behind them poured into the 9th floor continuously, pushing them forward. Pass this on, I wish Yunzhen has something to do, and let the others wait on the 8th floor. A group of great experts immediately sent back the news. The 9th level is such a small space. Not to mention whether it can squeeze out the people who come after it. The terrifying whirlpool of lightning on Zuyun's body is very likely to make his realm low. The monks were reduced to ashes. Their eyesight is amazing, and they can tell at a glance that this lightning is no different from the calamity thunder swallowed by evil thoughts. In other words, Zuyun has already had evil thoughts? With the powerful words, a monk soon passed the news back, and all the people who came later stayed on the 8th floor. The 8th floor is much smaller than the first floor, but it is more than enough to accommodate nearly 1,000,000 creatures. And all the demon cultivators in the nascent soul stage, or the demon king realm, stayed on the 9th floor, watching Zuyun use his mysterious magical powers to separate the endless thunder power on the thunder ball. Although our Xianlei sect can control thunder, we can't do this. This Zuyun is indeed a material that can be made. Master Lei Xian's eyes showed a strange look, and he didn't know what he was thinking. Ha ha ha, Lei Xian, your sect is no longer here, do you still want to win over this guy? I'm afraid many of my colleagues won't agree. The one who spoke was none other than Yang Huo, who had entered the world with a knife and a dog. Don't mention gossip. King Mu Sanren shouted low and said, Zuyun is dealing with this calamity thunder. I can't be of any help, so I will protect him on the side. If the evil thoughts enter the tower, I'm afraid it won't be appropriate. Everyone was suddenly stunned. When they saw Zuyun, they were all shocked by the scene here and forgot about the main business for a while. Hu Chong said, Senior King Mu, why don't we go to the 8th floor? If the evil thoughts come here, we can do our best. Yes, this sect leader thinks so too. Nangongyan stood up without hesitation, just because Xiu'er was also on the 8th floor. He had selfish motives, but it was harmless. We, the Yaluo demon sect, are willing to be at the forefront. Yu Tangzi also expressed his stance. At this time, Luo Yanran was speechless at all. When all living beings gather together, status is secondary, and the realm of strength is the last word. Good. King Mu Sanren clapped his hands and said, in that case, those who are familiar with Zuyun and those who have not reached the late nascent soul stage will stay here to communicate with Zuyun. The rest of the people will follow me to the 8th level to protect the Dharma. Everyone was about to take action when they heard Lao Jin suddenly say, slow down. Seeing everyone looking at him, Lao Jin said, Senior King Mu, the 9th floor of the demon refining tower was originally the place where we suppressed, so we demon kings should stay. Perhaps, when the master comes back to his senses, we might be useful. It makes sense, Hu Chong said quickly, although something happened to the demon refining tower, you may be able to help Zuyun here. Then except for these demon kings, everyone else will follow us out. When everyone works together, their power is as strong as gold. There is no voice of opposition. Everything they do has only one purpose, which is to eliminate evil thoughts. Except for Lao Jin and other demon kings, the rest of the nascent soul stage passed through the light gate one after another and reached the 8th floor. When all the people were gone, the demon kings tacitly stood where they once were. Indeed, no one is more familiar with the demon refining tower than them. In fact, Zuyun knew everything that happened here. But he was concentrating on controlling Chaos Lotus and couldn't speak at all. Fortunately, these people did not disturb him and took the initiative to go to the 8th floor, which made him feel relieved. Hurry, hurry. Zuyun could only separate out a trace of spiritual consciousness to communicate with the bird in the skull in his arms. Zuyun, 10 of the 12 demon kings have come, and together with Lao Ma, there are 11. Niao's soul power gradually dissipated with the passage of time, but he still reminded Zuyun. What's the meaning? After I enter this black ball, I still need to fight against the black pool. Only in this way can I become a real tower spirit. I need to use their power. Theirs. Yes, the 12 demon clans carry the destiny of heaven. Destiny. Zuyun was stunned for a moment, and then said, there are only 11 tribes here. 11 clans are enough, there can't be 12 clans. If the 12 clans gather together, something will happen to the demon refining tower. This is why my master only uses demons from the 11 clans. Zuyun really wanted to know the reason, but now every word he said would distract him a lot, so he stopped asking and said bluntly, "How to do it? Let them go to their places and leave the rest to me." In the original demon refining tower, the statues of the 12 tribes were used to trap Aniao's memory. And the demon kings of the 11 clans, plus thousands of demon beasts, are used to suppress evil thoughts. What Ania wanted was to use the power of the 11 tribes of demon kings to suppress He in one fell swoop, so that he could successfully enter the black ball and become a tower spirit. In this way, he could not only survive, but also control the demon refining tower, so that the evil thoughts would lose their trump card to do evil. Then let you enter the black ball first. Zuyun roared, and the lightning on the black ball had almost been separated by his vortex, but it also almost exhausted his mind. What Aniao said was right. Without borrowing the power of the 11 tribes of demon kings, even if Aniao entered the black ball, it might be very difficult to fight against He with his own strength. These are the two most important parts of the altar. If one side fails, how can the demon refining tower be captured? Get up for me. Zuyun roared, and the chaos lotus in his body accelerated again. The lightning vortex on his body suddenly absorbed all the lightning that was lingering on the black ball. Demon Saint, hurry. The veins on his forehead were bulging, and the chaos lotus that was forcibly accelerated made it difficult for him to hold on for too long. Here it comes. A bird shouted, and quickly drilled out of the skull. A golden light came in the blink of an eye and drilled into the black ball. In a moment, the black pool burst into golden light and turned into a golden sphere. It's done. Zuyun suddenly lost his strength and sat on the ground, but he couldn't take a breath. In the thunder pool, a huge change happened again. Zi La. In the thunder pool, several lightning movies were set off, and the poisonous snakes in the 10,000 snake cave rushed towards the golden ball. Zuyun, hurry. I can only hold on for 10 breaths. A bird's hysterical voice also sounded. Zuyun did not dare to neglect it, and waved his hand violently to summon Lao Ma out. Lao Ma, hurry up and suppress the golden pool with other demon kings. Lao Ma instantly understood the urgency of the situation, and over there, without Lao Ma's call, all the demon kings also moved. When Lao Ma returned to his position, a transparent power suddenly appeared on the 11 demon kings. It can't be seen or touched, but Zuyun felt a shocking power. Is this destiny? Isn't it said that only the demon king carries destiny? Moreover, is destiny on the totem pole? He murmured in his heart, and the countless thunder snakes suddenly stopped. Zuyun couldn't help it, so he forced a trace of spiritual consciousness to probe the thunder pool. Boom! Before he could find out what kind of power this was, Zuyun's brain exploded with a bang. He didn't have time to react at all, and the whole person fainted. But at this time, no one had time to pay attention to Zuyun. All the demon kings, plus Aniao, almost did their best to deal with the black pool. As long as the thunder power in the black pool was dispersed, Aniao could completely control the demon refining tower. At this time, the evil thoughts had successfully stepped into the 8th floor and found that there were countless creatures here. At the same time, he was attacked by numerous late-stage Yuanying, demon kings, and demon emperors. He snorted coldly and waved his hand casually. Sizzle! A fan-shaped strange lightning snake, with him as the center, blasted out in front of him. Screams were heard one after another, and all the attackers flew backwards one after another. Ants dare to compete with the bright moon? Overestimating their own abilities. Evil thoughts glanced around with disdain, turned around and walked towards the light gate on the 9th floor. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 845. We can't let him in. King Musanran roared angrily. He was still flying upside down in the air, but he took a strong breath and formed a magic formula in his hand. Whoops! I saw that under the ground around the light gate, countless towering trees grew out of thin air, blocking the light gate like fences. Dare to block this saint's way? You are seeking death. Although Evil Thought always had disdain on his face, he could already feel that his connection with the demon refining tower was weakening. He knew very well that if it were delayed any longer, the demon refining tower might really be refined by someone else. This has no impact on his own strength. But if you want to go to the outer world to take revenge, that's almost meaningless. He didn't kill these powerful nascent souls. He actually wanted to keep them for himself to devour. Who knew these people were so ungrateful and dared to fight back? Immediately, he was filled with anger, his face no longer had a calm expression, and he blasted him through the air in the direction of Aoki Sanjin with his backhand. Death to the saint! The lightning shot through the sky like an arrow. You are just borrowing thunder, I will show you what the magical power of thunder is. The lightning guide. It's Master Lei Xian. Before he finished speaking, Master Lei Xian teleported over and stood in front of the thunder arrow. His hands kept dancing, playing with the thunder arrow between his palms like a butterfly flying through flowers. This scene caused all the junior monks to exclaim in surprise. But only those powerful nascent souls could see that Master Lei Xian's hands were being corroded by the thunder arrows. If you get closer, you can see that his hands are riddled with holes, exposing the bones. Lei Xian, let me help you. Just hearing the sound of a broadsword being unsheathed, a figure appeared above the thunder arrow. Yang Huo raised his hands above his head, holding his own spiritual sword in his hand, and slashed it down with a powerful momentum. All this took all his life's efforts. It can break mountains, it can break rivers. But it is impossible to break this thunder arrow. Moreover, Yang Huo was immediately counterattacked by the thunder arrow and flew out heavily. But he fought desperately to save him and gave Master Lei Xian a chance to breathe. The Thunder Hand, as the name suggests, is to guide thunder to other places. Facing this huge spiritual arrow, Master Lei Xian is working hard to do it. Lao Yang, I told you 1,000 years ago that swordsmanship is the ancestor of all weapons. Why don't you learn swordsmanship instead, ha ha ha. The solitary sword master mocked him arbitrarily, but no one criticized him. Their hearts were filled with blood boiling. I saw the sword light reaching from bottom to top, piercing through the middle of the thunder arrows. However, the thunder arrow was unharmed, but the solitary sword master was injured by the sword. Puff! The solitary sword master spat out a mouthful of blood, and then fell to Yang Huo's side. Lao Yang, damn, am I worse off than you? Yang Huo coughed twice and said, who asked you to practice the integration of human and sword? If the sword is broken, it means your life is broken, ha ha, cough cough. Not funny at all. All the juniors, with tears in their eyes, watched these powerful men going forward one after another in order to save Aoki Sanran. Evil Thoughts knew that only by killing Aoki Sanran could he destroy all these big trees and enter the 9th level. These people are using their lives to delay time. But among those who dare to take action, which one is not the most powerful person in the mortal world? Therefore, he could only control the thunder arrows wholeheartedly and continuously inject the power of thunder, but he had to control the strength to avoid killing all these nascent souls in the later stage. Because of this, they gave these demon kings and Zuyun time on the 9th floor. And all these evil thoughts have been completely ignored. He just wants to kill Aoki Sanran. Until, all the late nascent soul, or late demon king, were injured by this thunder arrow. The monks in the middle nascent soul stage knew that it was their turn. The Peeper Realm monks, whether they were righteous or demonic monks, all used their strongest magical powers to bombard the thunder arrows. A drop of water is nothing to worry about. Thousands of drops of water can accumulate in a tiny pool. Countless drops of water turn into rivers, lakes, and seas. These monks all struck with all their strength. The former one had not yet taken action, while the latter one had already prepared his attack. There was no chance for evil thoughts to think. But in the middle stage of nascent soul, there were not even 10,000 people. Soon, it was the turn of the early stage of nascent soul. As the leader of Yaluo demon sect and the first person in the early stage of nascent soul, I should do it. Luo Yanran stood up with extremely determined eyes. Great Yaluo Palm. Her voice spread throughout the 8th floor. Master. In the distance, Meng Wei screamed and flew up out of thin air. Wei. Are you here too? When Luo Yanran heard this familiar voice, she looked back and found that Meng Wei had actually reached the nascent soul stage. She couldn't help but smile with relief, then flashed Ju Ru and struck the thunder arrow with a palm. Puff. Luo Yanran flew out without any surprise. Wei, it's your turn. Meng Wei's eyes were moist. She couldn't imagine meeting Luo Yanran again in such a scene. All the scenes she had imagined turned into fragments in her mind. Immediately, her expression faded. Except for the tears hanging at the corners of her eyes, proving that she had cried. Skyfire Dragon, let me see how strong you are. Calling himself this palace again indicates that the cold and ruthless palace master Meng Xiao from Yaluo sect is back. She watched Luo Yanran fall heavily to the ground, with a staff full of flames in her hand. Fire Dragon Staff. The weapon spirit inside is heavenly fire. Fire Dragon Staff, Raging Flames. As Meng Wei poured all her fire spiritual power into the Fire Dragon Staff, flames appeared out of thin air on her body, and under the effect of the spiritual fire symbiosis technique, a huge fire shadow giant appeared on her body. Ang. A huge fire dragon with the power to destroy the world came out of Meng Wei's hand, and the dragon roared, and it had already entangled the huge lightning arrow. Boom. Tzitzila. The power of the sky fire can burn everything in the mortal world. No one could have thought that a sudden appearance of Meng Wei would actually break the lightning arrow. Including evil thoughts? This spiritual weapon, this spiritual fire, this woman cannot be left. Evil thoughts were shocked, the lightning arrow was broken, and he was also backlashed. But Meng Wei was only in the early stage of the nascent soul after all, and the damage he caused to evil thoughts was extremely limited. It can be said that it was entirely based on the power of the Fire Dragon Staff and the Sky Fire Dragon. Die. Evil thoughts rushed forward instantly, but how could Meng Wei be killed easily? Thinking back then, she had entered Wanjian Mountain alone and escaped unscathed. Seeing that evil thoughts was aimed at her, Meng Wei knew that her goal had been achieved, so just run away. But could she escape a Yuanying period? Evil thought's strength was far superior to hers. And, he used the power of thunder, which was faster than fire. This was the real lightning. As soon as Meng Wei's death was in her heart, evil thoughts appeared in front of her with a ferocious face, and a big handful of lightning grabbed her forehead. Wei, run! With a delicate shout, a piece of clothing formed by flames suddenly appeared in front of Meng Wei, blocking her like a shield. This is the unique magical power of the Lian family of our Fire Dragon sect, the Fire Shadow Nishang. Dan Lao, who was lying on the ground and dying, sat up as if in a dying dream. The only one left in the Fire Dragon sect's Lian family was Lian Nishang. He stared with his eyes wide open, and finally saw the petite figure behind the fire shadow clothes, who was the long-lost disciple. Nishang, you are still alive. He cried loudly, because he knew that Lian Nishang's move would kill him. Boom. As he expected, the lightning palm penetrated the fire shadow and tore the gorgeous Nishang into pieces. The firelight dissipated immediately, and Lian Nishang fell with it. But at last, it gave Meng Wei a chance to escape. Nishang. These days, Meng Wei and Lian Nishang are close friends who talk about everything. Talked about life and death, talked about cultivation. But what they talked about more was Zuyun. Menghui's cold expression finally showed a trace of emotion again. Unfortunately, she was powerless. Because evil thought wanted to kill her so much, and she just needed to use this to delay time as much as possible. Menghui teleported with tears in his eyes. It was also at this time that other sects, the nascent soul stage, came one after another, displaying their own magical powers, trying to buy time for Menghui. But at this time, evil thought had already started to kill, and no longer held back like before. At that moment, he saw Menghui's peerless figure up close, and lust gradually emerged in his heart. He wanted to catch Menghui, and then torture him to death under his crotch. Get out of here. Evil thought's body shook, and countless thunder balls poured out of his body. These cultivators, who were touched by it, would die, and their bodies would be gone, all turned into bloody and fleshy pieces all over the sky. There was even a burnt smell. Go, go. Those powerful people lying on the ground took a breath, struggled to get up, and staggered into the air. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 846. Big Dog, maybe, our chance has come. At some point, Ergu held the knife, but his hand kept trembling. I know. The big dog knew what he was thinking, so he wanted to create an opportunity for the second dog to assassinate him. Reliance is the dark red knife. They already know that this is a spiritual weapon. Spiritual weapons can kill nascent soul. However, they never thought about killing evil thoughts with just this knife. As long as they inflict serious injuries on him, that will be their success. But the realm of the two of them is still a little low after all. You guys, Yesuan who aside at this time and said, you alone can't do it. And at this time, there are still nascent soul stages coming, so it won't be your turn at all. Uncle Seventh, what do you say? If we don't take the initiative, will we wait until the evil thoughts come to kill us? By then, we won't even have a chance to resist. Instead of waiting to die, it's better to take action first. Not to mention, Menghui's current situation. The big dog also held the long sword in his hand and pointed at Menghui who was constantly teleporting in the air. I know, I mean. Yesuanhua smiled easily and said, I have lived for hundreds of years and I have never done anything spectacular. In the nascent soul stage, I will definitely have a hand in this matter. Dad, Yezhi chuckled and said, why, didn't you say that your greatest wish is to restore the 7-star sect? He smiled, but Yezhi was still holding his natal magic sword, and his right hand was shaking uncontrollably like Ergu. Is it your turn to talk about me? Yesuanhua blew his beard and glared. It is said that brothers fighting tigers, father and son go into battle. Wait, I will set up the 9 turns and 9 yang formation, you 2 dog brothers hide inside to look for opportunities. Zeer, you will. What kind of thing is this? I want to see how evil this evil idea is. After that, Yesuanhua found an open space and began to set up the 9 turns and 9 suns formation. When the other monks saw that Yesuanhua was constantly taking out spirit stones, and seeing that it was the elixir forming stage, they all took out their own spirit stones and placed them on the ground. Because the nascent soul stage is running out, and when all the casualties in the nascent soul stage are exhausted, it will be their turn to form the Dan formation stage. If he dies, the spirit stone will be useless. It's better to give it to this formation master. I have never seen so many spiritual stones in my life. Yesuanhua laughed heartily and with great pride, he simply guided these monks to help set up the formation. At this time, he no longer hides his secrets and self-taught formations. Sun Suanhua said it very carefully, but how can a monk who can take out a spiritual stone be a dull person? In addition, it is only adding spiritual stones in the eyes of the secondary formation, so there is no difficulty at all. Therefore, the 9 revolutions and 9 yang formation, which could be arranged with only 81 spiritual stones, was forcibly arranged into 81,000 spiritual stones. In other words, each subformation I contains 1,000 spiritual stones. This formation may really allow the Danja stage to have the strength to compete with the nascent soul stage. In the sky, Meng Hui's hair was disheveled and he was in a miserable state. But despite this, she still couldn't hide her peerless appearance, which made the ordinary monks watching below couldn't help but feel their hearts twitching. If you banish a fairy like this, don't let anything happen. At the same time, on the 9th floor, Zuyun woke up again. He gasped for air and watched the battle between purple and gold with lingering fear. Gold is the power of the demon saint. Purple is naturally the power of thunder. Originally, A Niao couldn't fight against Lei Qi, and even he occupied the sphere because of Zuyun's efforts to help him. But with the help of a group of demon kings, this is slightly better. While Zuyun was unconscious, A Niao had already gained the upper hand, but it was extremely limited. But finally, there is hope. As long as he occupies the demon refining tower, Zuyun is sure to fight against evil thoughts. So at this time, he needs to restore his strength as soon as possible. But with so many demon kings here, how could he enter the Dao glass mirror? He didn't know that when he was in a coma, the guardian of the Dao glazed mirror was connected to his heart and could practice directly outside the mirror. It just takes several times more time. After thinking for a moment, Zuyun gritted his teeth. Compared with life and death, what are trump cards? What's more, no one paid attention to him at this time. Thinking of this, Zuyun started staggeringly, but walked to another corner and entered the fairy mansion. At the edge of the void, Zuyun began to look inside his lower abdomen. After almost all the chaos power was exhausted, the chaos lotus in the lower abdomen withered and became lifeless. But fortunately, the spiritual power in Zuyun's 4 spiritual beads has not been exhausted. Let's start practicing. After taking a look around his body and finding that he had not suffered any damage other than the loss of strength, Zuyun began to refine his qi. The chaos power in the void slowly entered Zuyun's body. After being absorbed and refined by the chaos lotus, it slowly entered the 9 meridians, nourishing his body. Something serious has happened. Huang Longshu said to the elixirs. Old tree, what's the explanation? A group of adult elixirs asked in confusion. Previously, these chaotic forces moved into the cave without anyone's guidance, and I discovered something strange. This shows that the master has encountered a big problem. Look at this time, he is defenselessly, he didn't say hello to us when he came in, which means the situation is very urgent. Huang Longshu's words were agreed by the other elixirs. So what should we do? What do we do? Hong Yi couldn't help but think deeply. What else can be done? Huang Longshu smiled bitterly and said, we can't transform yet, and we can't help the master come out of the immortal mansion to fight, therefore, we can only practice as soon as possible, so that when the master takes us to refine the medicine, he can refine more. All the elixirs suddenly realized. Indeed, apart from refining elixirs for Zuyun, what is their current role? For a time, all the elixirs that could leave the medicine garden came to Zuyun's side one after another and began to absorb the power of chaos. And the elixir, which had a little bit of intelligence but could not leave, also understood the words of these elixirs, began to absorb the spiritual power in the soil on its own, and grew crazily. The chaotic force in the void was actually stirred up. Through the void space, one could actually see an unknown place far away, and there was a looming land in all directions. Even if you look more closely, you can see black spots moving back and forth in all directions. Spiritual world, 5 elements sect. Sect master, something strange has happened in the Holy Land. An elder at the nascent soul stage, with an extremely solemn expression, knelt in front of the Five Elements sect master. Did something happen again in the Holy Land? The leader of the Five Elements sect suddenly stood up, his eyes shining brightly. If eyes could kill, I'm afraid this Yuanying stage would have been shattered into pieces and gone without a trace. Last time, the Holy Land was suddenly attacked by countless fire phoenixes, causing their Five Elements sect to suffer heavy losses. Every 5 spirit roots are hard-earned, let alone cultivating to the elixir-forming stage. As a result, all of them died overnight. It's not an accident, it's something strange. As if feeling the anger of the sect master, the Yuanying elder said quickly, those virtual clouds seemed to be blown by the wind, but they did not affect the Holy Land. I took another look and saw in the virtual clouds, in the distance. It seems like a mansion is floating. Mansion? The leader of the Five Elements sect exclaimed. Yes, the mansion. The mansion seems to be built under a mountain, and there are several cabins. It's too far away, and the clouds are constantly surging, so it's hard to see clearly. The leader of the Five Elements sect sat down with a solemn face, and then said, this matter must not be spread to outsiders. If a third person knows about it, I will beat your soul. Yes, yes. I have never told anyone. Okay, the Five Elements sect leader waved his hand and said, bring all your disciples out of the Holy Land, and leave the rest to the sect leader. After that, he took out a bottle of elixir and threw it over, saying, this is your disciples' compensation for this month. Thank you, sect master, thank you sect master. Elder Yuanying knelt down and bowed out of the sect master's hall. It seems that there really is more than one piece of Holy Land. It is said that there is also a fragment on the side of the heavenly demon dragon clan, and there is space in it. The leader of the Five Elements sect fell into deep thought, and Zuyun in the Immortal Mansion also knew the purpose of these elixirs, and couldn't help but laugh or cry. But when Huang Longshu talked about it, he couldn't help but feel strange. All living beings in the world, as long as they practice for a while, will have possibly transformed into a human being. And these elixirs may have lasted for tens of thousands of years, so why haven't they transformed into human form? I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 847. At this time, the 8th floor of the demon refining tower. Half a day had passed. All the Yuanying cultivators were killed. The first batch of cultivators who attacked earlier were all dying. And the Yuanying cultivators who attacked later almost all died on the spot. The air was full of blood. On the ground, corpses were lying everywhere. Evil thoughts had already faced the facts in front of him. Every point of his thunder power was a point less. Facing tens of thousands of cultivators who didn't care about life and death and came one after another, he had to save the thunder power. Originally, he would just strike casually and use the thunder power to blast the road blockers into powder. But at this time, he controlled the thunder power and barely killed the people. Because of this, there were corpses everywhere. Meng Wei was still fleeing in a panic. Lian Nishang fell to the ground and fell into a coma after her Naruto Nishang shattered. The young cultivators of the Spirit Sword sect were taking care of it. Behind Meng Wei, there were a group of Jindan stage cultivators of the Spirit Sword sect, led by Yezi. However, these Jindan stage cultivators were those who came from the Fire Dragon sect, led by Huo Maoang. I heard that they are from Yunzhou. How can there be Jindan stage cultivators in Yunzhou? And there are several. Didn't they say that the earth veins were broken and the spiritual power was exhausted in the battle between the righteous and the evil in Yunzhou? I don't know, but I heard that it seems that Zuyun came from the Spirit Sword sect. What? Zuyun? No wonder they not only have Jindan stage cultivators, but also are so fearless of death. These cultivators could not get involved, and while watching from below, they talked about Zuyun again. However, most of them contributed spirit stones to Yesuanhua. And the 9 transformations and 9 suns formation has also taken shape. Now, they just need to wait for Mengwei to lead the evil thoughts to the right place, and then Yezhi and others will fight to the death and bring the evil thoughts into the formation. At that time, Yesuanhua will try his best to trap the evil thoughts in it, and then the combination of big dog and 2 dogs will attack. Finally, the time has come. Mengwei has not communicated with Yezhi, but he saw that they were chasing him but never made a move, so he had some guesses in his heart. Then he looked at Yesuanhua with the corner of his eyes, and finally met his eyes. The two had been together in Yaloo Mountain for several years, and they knew each other very well. Mengwei knew Yesuanhua's purpose immediately. This is to use the formation. After a little thought in her heart, she knew that Yezhi and others were looking for an opportunity to make a move. Suddenly, she had a plan in her mind and fell into the formation. She was also in the nascent soul stage after all, so how could she let Yezhi and others in the core formation stage be bait? Sure enough, seeing that Mengwei no longer teleported but fell to the ground, Evil thought that Mengwei's spiritual power was exhausted, and followed him directly. Not good. Yezhi screamed, trying to attract Evil thought's attention. Unexpectedly, Mengwei had already stood still, waving the fire dragon staff in his hand, and once again controlled the sky fire. Grandpa, hurry. If you miss it, there will be no chance. If Evil thought of this level reacts, they will no longer have the power to deal with it. Yesuanhua was obviously unhappy in his heart, but he also knew that things could not be violated. 9 turns 9 yang, the big formation starts. He quickly pinched the formation formula, with his position as the main formation the big formation took shape immediately, and directly trapped Evil Thought and Mengwei in the formation. Grandpa, let me blast him first. Mengwei knew that Yesuanhua would definitely protect her and avoid Evil Thought through the transfer of the formation, so he spoke immediately. The arrow is on the string, and it has to be shot. The Sky Fire Dragon had already sprouted a dragon head on the Fire Dragon staff. With a wave of Mengwei, it rushed out and opened its mouth to bite. In the face of absolute strength, even if you are the Sky Fire, you can't do anything to the saint. Facing the Sky Fire Dragon again, although Evil Thought was arrogant, he had to be careful. What's more, the main body of the Fire Dragon staff was made of a spiritual beast from the sky, and its attack power was amazing. Boom! Evil Thought changed his palm into a claw, with countless lightning flashes between his hands, and grabbed the dragon head. When he was caught, Mengwei's face turned pale, and he staggered back a few steps. But then, she barely stood still, bit her silver teeth secretly, and tried to hold on for a little time as much as possible. He. It looks inconspicuous, but I didn't expect it to burst out with such power. Little girl, you are very good, this saint is really reluctant to let you die. Evil Thought grabbed the Sky Fire Dragon that was struggling in his hand with one hand, feeling that although the fire power was strong, it could not hurt himself. He couldn't help but relax a lot, and even said something teasing. Mengwei struggled to support. She knew that Yesuanhua would never be able to kill Evil Thought with this formation alone, there must be a backup. As long as I delay a little more time, I can let Evil Thought relax more, so that the sneak attacker can take advantage of it. Sure enough. Another moment passed. Under the control of Yesuanhua, a figure holding a sharp sword suddenly appeared behind Evil Thought. Dog, take my sword. It's a big dog. The big dog, who has reached the late stage of foundation building, held the sword with both hands and chopped down on the back of Evil Thought. Foundation building stage. Evil Thought's face suddenly became strange, and with a wave of his hand, he severely injured the big dog. Not only did the spirit sword break, but his body also flew backwards. If it weren't for Yesuanhua controlling the formation and using the power of the formation to hold him back, the big dog would have flown many miles. Can an ant among ants be able to hurt the saint with a spiritual sword? He was confused. When did you dare to raise your sword towards each other during the foundation building stage? Just as he was doubting, another figure suddenly appeared beside his backhand. You bitch, eat me with a knife. It's Urgu. Under Yesuanhua's deliberate actions, Urgu almost appeared with evil intentions. When the voice fell, the spiritual weapon knife was glowing with a strange dark red light, and it penetrated straight into the body of evil thought. Ah! The scream started. It was the two dogs barking. Just because evil thoughts are protected by lightning, Urgu was harmed by lightning. Thunder is a tribulation thunder, and evil thoughts are in the nascent soul stage. If the knife hadn't been a spiritual weapon, Urgu wouldn't have been able to break through evil thought's body. One knife hit, and the evil thoughts became furious. This saint was actually injured by a foundation establishment stage. After I deal with this woman, I will let you fully understand the word regret. I will make you regret it as an adult. The last word human came out, and the whole body was shocked with evil thoughts. Where the knife was stabbed, a bolt of lightning shot out, knocking the two dogs straight to the ground. Previously, after the big dog was knocked away, Yesuanhua hit it. So the evil thoughts don't want Urgu to stay away from him. He said he would make Urgu regret becoming a human. He wants to torture. Eternal torture will not let Urgu die. In the immortal mansion, Zuyun planned to leave. Master, we are not ordinary elixirs, we are elixirs. If you want to transform into a human being, the conditions are extremely harsh. Huang Longshu solved the mystery in Zuyun's heart. I see, I've always regarded you as a panacea. Zuyun said with a smile, and then said, I have recovered and it's time to leave. I'll see you again after everything is over. Just when he was about to return to his human form, he saw Huang Longshu saying, Master, if you need us, don't be polite. Zuyun nodded and entered the cave, then reappeared in the demon refining tower. At least half a day had passed and Aniao had already firmly gained the upper hand. Zuyun knew that the demon refining tower matter had finally come to an end and there was no chance for him to intervene here, so he decided to go to the first few floors to take a look. Just as he stepped into the light door, he saw a scene that made his eyes split open. Millions of creatures, at least half of them corpses. Wish Yun. Wish Yun. Wish Yun. All the nascent soul cultivators who knew Zuyun, as well as the demon emperors, almost broke their throats with roars. They were about to die, but at the moment they saw Zuyun, they seemed to have a flash of light and regain their vitality. I am coming. Zuyun's expression suddenly calmed down. But everyone who is familiar with him knows that this is the most terrifying side of Zuyun. The ultimate calmness. The 9-turn 9 yang formation? I think the evil thoughts are in it. Zuyun's body flashed and he appeared outside the formation. He stretched out his hand, and the chaos sword immediately appeared in his hand. No one saw that blossoming lotus patterns appeared on the chaos sword. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 848. Zuyun, be careful. At this time, a warm and soft voice suddenly sounded beside Zuyun. He looked back and saw an extremely embarrassed face with disheveled hair that could not be concealed. Mengwei originally wanted to live and die with his evil thoughts in the formation, delaying as much time as possible. But Yesuanhua didn't want to let Mengwei die in vain. After Urgu stabbed evil thought with one knife, he took the opportunity to send her out of the formation. Wei. Surprise flashed in Zuyun's eyes. All the people in the mortal world are in the tower. Mengwei said softly, implying that Zuyun's battle concerns the entire mortal world. I wish Yun Shen, then everyone will be born. If Zuyun fails, then the mortal world will perish. Rest assured. Zuyun whispered softly, then turned around decisively, holding the formation formula in his left hand, and stepped into the 9 turns and 9 suns formation. You brat, You're finally here. Yasuanhua's body was covered in blood. It was not the evil thoughts that had hurt him, but controlling the formation to forcibly trap the evil thoughts, which was beyond the limit of what his body could bear. Master, leave it to me. Zuyun smiled slightly, and with a wave of his hand, he pushed Yasuanhua away from the formation's eyes, and then he stood up and took over the 9 turns and 9 suns formation. In an instant, the situation in the formation made his eyes tear open. Big dog, second dog. Yasuanhua was afraid that it would affect Zuyun's mood, so he quickly said, "Don't worry, they won't die yet, I'll take them out of the battle first." Zuyun's breath stagnated, he forcibly restrained the anger in his heart, controlled the formation, and moved the 2 brothers, Big Dog and Ergu, to Yasuanhua's side. If the heart moves again, the rest of the people will be teleported here at the same time. Master, take care of them. After the words fell, everyone except Zuyun and Evil Nian were kicked out of the formation. At this moment, the evil figure suddenly appeared in front of Zuyun. "And, I didn't expect you to find me. Are you here to die?" When he saw Zuyun, Evil Thought was also slightly startled. This formation was so mysterious that it could trap him thanks to its many changes and thousands of spirit stones. However, it didn't cause him any harm. Even worse than Menghui's Sky Fire Dragon, and even worse than Ergu's knife. At this time, the knife was still inserted between the evil thought's waist. "Yes, I am sending you to death," Zuyun nodded slightly and said, "I am just sending you to death. Ha ha ha, this saint has reached the stage of becoming a god. How do you send the saint to die?" Evil Thought seemed to have heard an extremely ridiculous joke, and he immediately looked up to the sky and laughed. "What about the transformation stage?" Zuyun looked disdainfully, pointed the chaos sword in front of him, and said, "I have also reached the late nascent soul stage." "Boy, don't you know that the nascent soul stage is followed by the divine transformation stage? If it weren't for the limitations of heaven, I could crush you into powder with just one little finger." "Of course I know." Zuyun walked forward slowly, with a nonchalant look on his face, and said, "I guess you don't know that the skills I practice can kill enemies at a higher level." After saying the last word, Zuyun commanded the chaos sword and thrust forward. The promise sword technique. During the conversation with the evil thoughts, Zuyun had already controlled the 9 turns and 9 suns formation to its final change. Just sleeping. All the remaining spiritual power among the 81,000 spiritual stones completely trapped the space between the 2 of them, and their range of movement was limited. This gave evil thoughts nowhere to hide. With just a thought, Evil Thought discovered Zuyun's purpose. Feeling the terrifying power coming from the tip of the sword, his expression also changed slightly. "Humph, you want to kill me with just a sword technique? What a wishful thinking. I will let you feel what heaven is." As he spoke, he stretched out a palm, and suddenly thunder roared in the entire formation, and lightning suddenly filled the entire space, and crashed down the 9-wheeled sun above the formation. "Heaven? How dare you call your evil thoughts heaven?" Zuyun dwarfed slightly, dodged the incoming lightning, took a step forward, and slashed the sword horizontally through the evil thought's palm with his backhand. "What a sword!" Evil Thoughts was shocked and couldn't help but praise. He is a demon saint, but he has never seen anyone use such exquisite sword skills. This is much more powerful than the swordsmanship of the solitary sword master before. Better is yet to come. Zuyun whispered, using the steps of the immortality secret with his feet, while dodging the irregular lightning, but a burst of pure fire spiritual power suddenly emerged from his other hand. Li Huo transforms into a dragon. 5 dragons rise to the sky. The fire spirit power was divided into 5 and instantly turned into 5 fire dragons, entangled with evil thoughts. Does the fire spirit power dare to compete with this saint's thunder? If he was still in the nascent soul stage, he would definitely not dare to go head to head with these 5 fire dragons. But at this time, he is in the stage of becoming a god. Even if it is limited by the law of heaven, the threat to him is extremely limited. The evil thoughts were baptized by the 9 tribulation thunders and were swallowed up by them. The body's control over the power of the tribulation thunders was terrifying to the extreme. He held his palm slightly, and 5 lightning dragons emerged from his 5 fingers, and they split up to face the 5 fire dragons. Boom! 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 There were 5 loud noises one after another, and Zuyun's Liwo dragon disappeared immediately. The corners of his mouth curved with evil thoughts, because his thunder dragon had not been completely neutralized yet. You are happy too early. Zuyun seemed to have seen through the evil thoughts, and his heart moved, and the earth spirit beads in his body also moved immediately. Boom! The ground shook, and a wall of earth suddenly shot out. The weakened thunder dragon crashed into it, knocking down a large amount of dirt, and then dissipated. Earth, says Kong Hao. The earth wall has no lethality, but it has extremely strong defensive power. After the power of thunder and light was partially offset by Zuyun's Liwo dragon, it was impossible to blast away the earth wall formed by the purest earth spiritual power. Zuyun sneered, and his mind moved again. This time, the wood spirit pearl moved. Wood overcomes earth, and earth produces wood. And the wood, says Kong Sheng. Under Zuyun's control, the earth wall suddenly became green, and countless vines sprouted out, entangled with evil thoughts. Boy, how many spiritual powers do you have? Evil Thoughts was extremely surprised. When he was still a tower spirit, he witnessed several fights between Zuyun and Zhu Feng. The one he saw the most was Zuyun using his fire spirit power. But at this time, the 3 spiritual powers of fire, earth, and wood are extremely pure. Countless. Zuyun sneered, and the chaos sword thrust forward, passing through the gap in the vines. Facing the almost all-pervasive Wuji sword technique, evil thoughts began to feel a little stretched. If he only used the chaos sword, he would be able to handle his evil thoughts with ease, but every time Zuyun made a move, he would first use other magic powers to divert his attention, making him unable to deal with it with peace of mind. Even if he is in the stage of becoming a god, he is in the mortal world, in the demon refining tower. Demon refining tower. Evil thoughts suddenly made his eyes light up. Am I not able to control the demon refining tower? Thinking of this, he had evil thoughts and wanted to break through the formation and then go to the 9th floor. When the time comes, with the power of the sky thunder in the black ball and the black pool, I can also imitate Zuyun. Immediately, evil thought changed his response strategy. He did not dodge the incoming vines. He turned his hand and gathered countless lightning spiritual powers and blasted towards Zuyun. But he doesn't know. The Chaos Sword is an immortal sword. Not to mention that his body has not been completely tempered by the thunder. Even if it is tempered, it cannot block the edge of the Chaos Sword. Severe pain hit me, and with evil thoughts I felt a black shadow suddenly flying in front of my eyes. My hand. The Chaos Sword directly cut off evil thoughts' hand from between the elbows. He couldn't believe it, and subconsciously held the wound with his other hand. The blood spurted out with a foul stench. There's something weird about this sword. Eat a hard time and gain wisdom. At this time, the evil thoughts finally understood the meaning of what Zuyun said before. The skills he practices can transcend levels. His sword can even transcend levels. Break the formation first. There was already a trace of fear in the evil thoughts. In fact, at his level, missing one hand would not have much impact on his strength. But fear has arisen, and he is at a disadvantage. The evil thought shook his whole body, shattering all the vines entangled around him, and then concentrated the power of thunder into his palm, rising into the sky. He wants to shatter the formation with one palm and escape. Want to run? It's too late. Zuyun seemed to have anticipated the evil thoughts. He raised the corners of his mouth slightly and uttered 4 words. Thousands of miles of ice. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 849. Zuyun's 1,000 miles of ice is completely different from Sun Qiniang's 1,000 miles of ice. But Zuyun fused the water spirit pearl and learned to use ice spiritual power. Water is said to be moisturizing, but ice can slow down a person's body reaction at extremely low temperatures. Zuyun wants to freeze the entire space of the formation to slow down the speed of evil thoughts. Don't you want to run? I won't let you run away. After the water spiritual power gushed out from the water spirit bead, under Zuyun's thoughts, it quickly turned into ice spiritual power and began to fill the entire space. Thick layers of ice formed on the ground, and ice blades appeared out of thin air in the air. The ice blade was raging, and although it couldn't hurt the evil thoughts, it still distracted him a lot. Moreover, after these ice blades fell on the evil thoughts, they seemed to be stuck with glue and could not be thrown away at all. Although it will slowly melt under the body temperature of evil thoughts, before one of them melts, 10 ice blades continue to fall on it. In just a moment, evil thought's body was already covered with white frost. Damn it, how many kinds of spiritual powers do you have? The evil thoughts made him even more confused. Not only was his power of thunder exhausted, but what made him even more uncomfortable was that the power of thunder had no great effect on Zuyun at all. How about you count them? Zuyun smiled jokingly and flew up with his sword. The chaos sword was in his hand, like a life-threatening sword, attacking evil thoughts. Ah! The powerful evil thoughts roared out, and Zuyun was like a cork attached to his bones, making it impossible for him to get rid of it. The anger is boundless, and the evil thoughts finally do not intend to save the power of the sky thunder, but to gather all the power of the sky thunder to kill Zuyun in one fell swoop. 9 Heavens Tribulation Thunder. Amidst the roar, the evil thoughts made an explosion, and countless thunder lights surged out of his body. In an instant, he turned into a huge thunder ball. Wow! Countless frosts also exploded, forming a white mist around him. Not good. Zuyun didn't expect that evil thought would be so decisive. He said he was desperate, but he was desperate. At the same time, in this ice mist, he couldn't find the weakness of evil thought. Then the Wuji sword technique will not work. Breaking the void spiritual eyes technique. Zuyun roared and looked into the ice mist, but except for the thunder ball, he found nothing. It was also at this opportunity that the evil thoughts found an opportunity, and the thunder ball hit Zuyun with the power of destroying the heaven and the earth. Oops! Zuyun's expression changed. He was trapped in the space in the formation. Even if he teleported again, he would not have time to escape. Since you can't escape, then carry it down. Zuyun made a prompt decision and gave up the difficulty of the 9 turns and 9 suns formation. He immediately activated the formation formula and drew out all the spiritual power from the 81,000 spirit stones. Whoops! The spiritual power stirred up the wind, melted into a grey-white spiritual pillar, and swung towards the thunder ball fiercely. The 9 revolutions and 9 suns formation was also broken at this moment. Boom! Everyone saw the shocking scene. A spiritual pillar that was almost reaching the sky met the huge thunder ball. Oh my god, is this Zuyun's strength? In my lifetime, I can actually see a battle of this level. We are all in the nascent soul stage, and I am even in a higher realm than him. Comparing like this, I feel ashamed. If I can survive this trip, I must practice hard and live up to Zuyun's desperate efforts to save him. Amid the shocked murmurs of the monks, the thunder light collided with the spiritual pillar, setting off an 8-level strong wind that swept away in all directions. In an instant, Those seriously injured nascent soul stage or low-level monks were thrown several miles away. What's more, without proper protection, he was unexpectedly killed by the wave. Screams and wails filled my ears. But at this time, Zuyun couldn't care too much. Because the evil thoughts are driven by all the strength, even if only 10% of the power of the nine heavens tribulation thunder is left, it cannot be withstood by the scattered spiritual power of nearly 100,000 spiritual stones. Fortunately, evil thought only wanted to enter the ninth floor at this time. After repelling Zuyun with one blow, he rushed towards the spiritual tree formation set up by King Musanren. Only by breaking through these spiritual trees can he enter the ninth floor. But Aniao and a group of demon kings are working together to refine the demon refining tower. How can Zuyun let him enter and destroy it? But the previous 1,000 miles of ice had already exhausted all the spiritual power in the water spirit beads. He wanted to use his own chaos power to transform the ice spiritual power, but he was unable to achieve this effect. It still has to do with too little spiritual power. If your realm is not enough, then you must resort to means to make it happen. If you can't kill him right now, then delay him as long as possible. Spirit Talisman, Ice Tornado. Zuyun's mind seemed to flash with lightning. He threw the Chaos Sword casually, stretched out his fingers with his right hand, and started drawing in the air. Far away. Those monks can get up. In addition to Yesuanhua, there are naturally some monks who are proficient in talismans. Seeing Zuyun using his fingers as a pen and using air spirit paper, they couldn't help but be shocked beyond measure. Zuyun painted those complicated lines smoothly without any lag. The most important thing is that no one can understand what kind of talisman Zuyun drew. Just when evil thoughts were destroying all the big trees, Zuyun's talisman was completed. Ice Tornado. Zuyun roared, and all the lines on the spiritual talisman dissipated at the same moment. At the same moment, a tornado suddenly appeared in front of him. The tornado roared, mixed with tens of thousands of ice blades, and flew towards the light gate. What kind of magical power is this? Feeling the terrifying power coming from behind, evil thought was shocked again. Why does Zuyun have so many tricks? As his mind went, the tornado had already swallowed the light gate. Evil thought knew that he had been blocked. At this time, he had only two choices. Either, disperse the tornado. Or, wait until the tornado blows through the light gate, and then he enters it. But obviously, Zuyun would not give him a chance, so he could only take the initiative to attack again. Sizzle. The huge thunder ball made a strange arc and rushed towards Zuyun. Zuyun did not expect that evil thought would react so quickly, and he found a way to deal with it. Temporarily avoiding the edge and killing him, the initiator, made him slow for a while. The speed was so fast that all the monks who were watching were worried. Zi La. Instantly, Zuyun was engulfed by the lightning. Evil thought was stunned, then ecstatic. As strong as Zuyun is, you are just a mortal cultivator, how can you resist the power of lightning? Ha ha ha, what a pleasant surprise. Zuyun, you will definitely die if you enter my heavenly thunder. Evil thought laughed grimly, gathered all his lightning power, and focused all his strength to bombard Zuyun in it. Boom! 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 Countless muffled sounds came from the thunder ball. Everyone knew that this was caused by the lightning bombarding Zuyun. Zuyun! For a moment, thousands of cultivators exclaimed in unison, and the sound resounded through the sky. Shout, shout! You ants, it's useless to shout your throats out. This sudden harvest made evil thought extremely ecstatic. He was extremely arrogant, and the thunder ball actually revealed the outline of his face, full of a playful look. What to do, what to do? All the cultivators had only one thought in their minds, wishing they could kill Zuyun and rescue him. But such a powerful thunder force, even though they were several miles away, they could still feel its terrifying power. He, Wait for me to kill this boy, and then devour all of you to replenish my spiritual power. The voice of evil thoughts reached everyone's ears. All the Yuanying stage cultivators had extremely solemn faces. Led by Mengwei, those who still had the strength to fight again were ready to attack again. Death is the only way to rescue Zuyun. But where to start? Meng, young palace master. At this time, Ergu took a deep breath and suddenly called Mengwei. Ergu. Mengwei was slightly stunned. When he saw him before, Ergu was already breathing out more and breathing in less, and he was not far from death. If it weren't for Yesuan who were refining a lot of life-extending pills to keep him alive, he and Daegu would have died here long ago. Take me and Daegu with you, to save Zuyun's life. Every time Ergu said a word, he felt a piercing pain in his body, but he still insisted on saying what he said. Ergu, if I take you up, it's no different from sending you to death. Mengwei scolded softly. Although she was not far from death, she couldn't send Ergu to die. Young palace master, Daegu didn't know when he woke up, and said, Ergu's knife is still on evil thought, he can only control the knife when he is close. Hearing this, Mengwei felt a bang in his head, and then a possible scene emerged. That knife has been with her for hundreds of years, how could she not know the terrifying power contained in it? And Ergu, obviously, was willing to risk his life to control the knife to save Zuyun. Young palace master Meng, you are not afraid of death, and I am not afraid of death either. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 850. At this time, Zuyun was trapped in the thunder ball, and everything he looked at was purple light. Moreover, his body was constantly being bombarded by thunder. He doesn't say he is proficient in the power of thunder, but at least he has mastered the power of thunder. The most important thing is that how to learn the power of thunder is also learned from the 5 elements of Chaos Sutra. Otherwise, he would not be able to use the thunder power to fight against the black ball and the thunder power in the black pool on the 9th floor. Those thunder spirit powers are actually the power of heavenly thunder, which are originally used by evil thoughts to refine the demon refining tower. Zuyun had previous experience, so it was not that difficult to deal with the power of the sky thunder now. But the problem arises, he must concentrate on it, otherwise these thunder powers will cause great harm to his body. This is thunder. Zuyun didn't know that he was so anxious at this time that he frantically rotated the chaos lotus in his body, converting the chaos power into thunder spirit power, so as to fight against these tribulation thunders. Being in the thunder ball, he also felt the terrifying power contained in the thunder ball, and he was not aware of what was happening in the outside world at all. Tens of thousands of tiny calamity thunders constantly bombarded Zuyun's body, but fortunately, with the protection of Zuyun Li's spiritual power, they did not cause any damage to his body. However, every blow consumes Zuyun's original thunder power. Once the chaos power stored in Zuyun's body is exhausted, he will no longer be able to resist it. Feeling the crazy loss of chaos power, Zuyun became more and more anxious, not knowing how to deal with it. Now, he can't tell the difference at all. Until the thunderball suddenly vibrated, and the tiny thunderbolts that bombarded him were no longer so dense. At the same time, he also heard a scream from outside the thunderball. Very familiar. It belongs to Ergu. 2 dogs. His heart felt like it was clenched. At this time, the pressure on him decreased, and Zuyun couldn't help but roar. Then, he saw the thunder light weakening, and he saw 3 familiar figures, falling heavily to the ground, bleeding. Big dog, 2 dogs, boundless. Zuyun was shocked and angry. He didn't need to think too much to know that these 3 people must be trying to save him. But how can they be the opponents of evil thoughts? This is the source of all evil. Zuyun Hen. I only regret that I paid such a heavy price for being distracted for a moment. but he knew that the power in his body was weakened and he could not let his evil thoughts react. Ah! Zuyun roared wildly, his voice sending thunderballs far away. If they don't go out now, Big Dog and the others will die in vain. In front of Zuyun's eyes, a scarlet color appeared, and blood and tears actually flowed out. The source of all evil, get out of here. With a hoarse voice, Zuyun frantically looked at the blurred outline of the evil thought and tried his best to take a picture. This is Chaos Palm. The Chaos Lotus no longer transformed the thunder spirit power, and Zuyun allowed countless thunder rays to burn his body into pieces bit by bit. This is a life-threatening style of play. In his body, all the chaotic power appeared on his palm almost at the same time. With all his strength, even in the late stage of divine transformation, it is impossible to block this palm. Boom! 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 The first sound was the thunderball exploding. The second sound was the force of chaos stirring up the wind and clouds. The third sound was that the demon refining tower was also shaken. After 3 sounds, Zuyun's chaos palm hit evil thought heavily. Then, Zuyun didn't know what the outcome would be. He lost all his strength and fell heavily from the air. The evil thoughts did not know life and death, and were photographed into the distance. Zuyun even doesn't know life or death. Wish Yun. A group of powerful men rushed toward Zuyun like crazy and surrounded him. And beside him were Mengwea, Big Dog, and Ergu. Where are the people from Yaoang Valley? Yu Tangzi screamed. I'm here to take a look. Hu Chong was physically inconvenient and struggled to squeeze through the crowd. He squatted down and checked Zuyun's condition. Half of his body was blackened and injured by thunder. Under the spiritual exploration, Hu Chong's face gradually became ugly. Inappropriate, inappropriate. Hu Chong's face was ashen and he said, the skin, flesh, bones, and blood are all injured by the thunder. The blood and energy are blocked, and the spiritual power is even less powerful. I'm afraid, I won't be able to survive. This almost announced that Zuyun would die. All those who were still alive seemed to have had all their strength taken away, and collapsed to the ground. Then, what about them? Yu Tangzi looked at Mengwea and the others. In the beginning, it was Mengwea who restrained the evil thoughts and introduced him into the 9 turns and 9 suns formation. But Injanai, Daegu, and Ergu fought to the death and used tricks to hurt the evil thoughts. At last, it was them who rushed forward regardless of their own safety and rescued Zuyun from the thunder ball, allowing Zuyun to use his strongest blow. The evil thoughts died. As he flew far away, his body was torn apart and his soul disappeared. But it seems like he won't survive. As Hu Chong sentenced these people to death, the air became strangely quiet. A moment of silence. Stand still. A full hour. Mengwea's body was glowing with faint fire, which was the spiritual fire symbiosis technique. The monks of the Fire Dragon sect recognized this method and stepped forward one after another, using their fire spiritual power to keep Mengwea alive as long as possible. The cultivators of the Yaloo demon sect naturally recognized the aura of Ergu. Although they were surprised why a male cultivator practiced the Yaloo demon art, since the people of the Fire Dragon sect could extend Mengwea's life, they would naturally do it. Xiu'er was the first to walk to Ergu's side, put her palm on his forehead, and carefully passed the Yaloo magic power into him. She was afraid that her power was too strong and Ergu, a small foundation cultivator, would not be able to bear it. Beside the big dog, the lone sword master spit out blood while crawling over. Old Yang, a knife is a knife, a sword is a sword, but they are also all kinds of weapons, and they have the same end. You and I have a short lifespan, so it's better to let this sword-wielding kid live a little longer. Do I need you to teach me? Don't you see that I crawl faster than you? Yang Huo's knife was not broken, and he was indeed less injured than the lone sword master. The two of them came to the big dog one after the other and slowly passed their spiritual power. All three of them were given a new lease of life. But everyone knows that this is only a temporary solution. Zhu Yun still has some energy, but his body seems to be ravaged by lightning. It's just right, let me experience this 9-day thunder. Every time Master Lei Xian took a step, a flash of lightning would appear. He walked to Zhu Yun with difficulty, and then silently said in his heart, "Thunder drawing hand." He wanted to use his magical powers to draw out the remaining thunder in Zhu Yun's body. But he was just an ordinary late-stage nascent soul peak, relying on a single mutant thunder spirit root. Even if the power of the heavenly thunder was weak, it was still the thunder of the heavenly way, and it also caused great damage to his body. As Master Xian Lei's hands kept moving back and forth on Zhu Yun's charred half-body, his hands gradually became dry. This was the damage caused by the heavenly thunder. But Master Xian Lei was unmoved, and used the thunder-drawing hand over and over again, trying his best to draw out the remaining heavenly thunder power in Zhu Yun's body. Maybe in this way, Zhu Yun can come back to life. "Dad, is he dead?" Ye Ziyi turned his head and looked at Ye Xuanhua. "Not dead, not dead. Zhu Yun is a lucky guy. Even if I die, he won't die." Ye Xuanhua said stubbornly, but he couldn't help choking and crying. Ye Ziyi couldn't calm down for a long time, sighed, and walked towards the big dog. Because, he is also a sword cultivator. For a long time. Among the crowd, any cultivator who can contribute a little strength. Whether it is the righteous way, the devil way, or the demon cultivator, they all came up. They helped Zhu Yun and the other 4 people to prolong their lives. Try their best. Without Zhu Yun, perhaps they will die tragically at the hands of evil thoughts. There are millions of people entering the tower. Only 50% survived. And among these 50%, 30% of the cultivators are below the Jindan stage. Of the remaining 20%, half of them were seriously injured. Only that 15%, how much help can it provide? But no matter who it is, at this moment, they are extremely angry about how much time they have wasted in their lives. If they can practice well, not argue about right and wrong, and not do evil, maybe they can help more at this time. It's too late to regret. But it's not too late to mend the fence after the sheep have been lost. They have made up their minds. When this matter is over, they must practice well, so that they can live up to the desperate rescue of Zhu Yun and others. 1 day. 2 days. 3 days. Almost everyone in the demon refining tower has contributed. Meng Wei and the other 2 have miraculously shown signs of waking up. But Zhu Yun is still like a dead body. No heartbeat, no breathing. If it weren't for his body, which still retains temperature, it would give these people some hope. It's time to disperse. All good things must come to an end. Hu Chong and others decided to take Zhu Yun to a quiet place, search for spiritual medicine in the mortal world, and save Zhu Yun. Unexpectedly, a cold wind suddenly blew, and a familiar and strange laugh reached everyone's ears. He, how can the power of the mortal world hurt the root of the saint? In the demon refining tower, this saint is invincible.